This course is an exciting opportunity to work remotely while working with international clients, solving their problems, helping them find their audiences, and you can do this all from the comfort of your home. Hi everyone, welcome to CRI 815, the Creative School Cortona. I'm Tanya Pobeda and I'm going to be your instructor. Cortona, Italy is an ancient city, really a medieval city. It was first formed in the 7th century before Christ BC, and it became a Roman colony. It was called Corito. And the final stages of the Gothic War, back in 535, the whole city was sacked and destroyed. And it's a really, like I said, Middle Ages medieval city with a lot of rich history. The fascinating thing about Cortona is it's tough to get to. And that's one of the puzzles we're going to be solving for some of the clients that we're going to be supporting this term. The one wonderful thing about the architecture in this city is their steep, narrow streets situated on a hillside. There's an elevation about 600 meters. And when I got my briefing for this course, I was really fascinated by one of the charms of this city being that it is slightly remote. It's tough to get to. And that is a puzzle, again, that we need to solve for the clients. The other interesting thing about the city is, again, that ancient architecture. That's the reason why a lot of people want to go there. It's steeped in history. You get to see how the original peoples of Italy lived as a Roman colony, and then later evolving into this modern city. There are a mass number of churches in the city, and transportation is typically accessed by rail. The closest station is the Carmiccia Cortona railway station, and it's about 3 kilometers away. There's some direct trains from Florence, Rome, and Forniglio. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that quite right, but that's the puzzle that we're going to need to solve, and this is a beautiful picture of Cortona, Italy in the summertime. But first things first, who is teaching you this course? Well, that's going to be me. My name is Tanya Pobeda. I'm a PhD candidate, and I'm supporting you through this summer course. I bring a 27-year history and industry, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail in a moment. But my job is to be your mentor, your supporter, your cheerleader, helping you through this experience and delivering a successful result. Here I am, one slightly goofy picture that I use when I'm doing gaming conferences. I study board games, and another that's a little more corporate, although a little goofy as well, that I use in some of my more corporate opportunities. This is what I look like, and here's a little avatar I'm going to be using throughout these videos to symbolize me. She doesn't look that much like me, but it was the closest I could get. So why am I teaching this course? Well, I'm a former tech reporter. I met Bill Gates, Steve Jobs in the early days of the tech boom. And then I moved to Hill & Knowlton and then Shandwick International, which are 2 of the world's largest public relations and communications firms. And there I worked on clients like Microsoft, SAP, CIBC, and Bell. And then I moved to corporate side and worked at Cognos, which is now IBM, as a global campaigns manager, which meant that I was working in Europe, parts of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, helping with campaigns rollouts and customizing messaging for different international markets. I was a director of marketing and communications at the Canadian Automobile Association, and I also worked at Nordion, a publicly traded company, and actually one of the world's most regulated companies based in Ottawa. I also ran a multi-service communications consultancy that specialized in web design, PR, search engine optimization, and crisis comms for many years. It's still going, actually. I still take freelance opportunities. I'm also a PhD candidate at X University and York University's Communications and Culture program with a specialty in tech. I have a bachelor's degree, high honors in journalism at Carleton, and a master's degree from right here at X University. I'm also a certified project management professional, so I can give you all kinds of tips and tricks for project management and getting things done. I study board games, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and empathy training, And for no reason whatsoever, I'm also a licensed drone pilot. I'll probably tell you that story a little later in the term. I've supported the fall and winter versions of CRI 815 for several years, and I really love this course. The key to all of it, and I'll talk more about this in a moment, is finding your client's audience. That's the key. That's the key to everything. And as my colleagues would attest, I talk about audience all the time because it is the most important consideration that you can make to help your clients succeed. In fact, figuring out your audience or your client's audience is the most important consideration that any major brand, mid-sized business, or small mom and pop shop can make to succeed. It's the skeleton key, the key that unlocks everything when it comes to branding, executing business ideas. If you know your audience, you're going to be a success. Together, we're going to be learning about a powerful and important methodology called design thinking. This is about locating your audience, speaking to that audience, thinking outside of yourself, determining what that audience wants, empathizing with them, talking about their problems, and then coming up with solutions as defined by your customers. Then defining those solutions and problems, ideating, coming up with ideas, putting stuff down on paper, then prototyping some of that ideation, then testing it with that audience. This is a powerful methodology, really privileged by Canadian employers, major brands. If you can figure out how to unlock design thinking in your lives, it's a powerful methodology to use. And it also helps you when you have a new client. It's a place to start. It's a bunch of activities that really help you progress successfully through projects. The most important thing for me, and I just want to take a moment to talk about this, is that you're safe, that you're not exposing yourself to any unnecessary risk. I'm proud of us all for staying home and doing this online. This minimizes the risk profile, to use a project manager's term, and it really helps us to get that international experience that is going to be so important to your resume. I want you to remember, as we do this course together, that I don't want you to expose yourself to unnecessary risk by meeting in person. You don't have to do that with this course. All of these videos will be recorded asynchronously. You can listen to them at your leisure. And I want you to make sure you don't spend any money, because I'm a PhD student and I understand about being broke. I want you to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and that you're focusing on your wellness. So I wanted to take that moment to just tell you it's okay. And it's okay to push back. And we're going to be talking about that more through the term. I have often said to students that this course is the perfect real life, real business simulator. It's going to teach you lessons you're going to take out into the work world, and they're practical and valuable lessons. It's going to teach you where to start. And I can tell you, after 27 years in industry, particularly in the creative industries, you must keep reinventing yourself. You must be relentlessly focused on learning new things, meeting new people, and taking on new skills. Even at the earliest stages of my career, I realized I was in business for myself. Most of my work was remote, even back in the late 90s. I was doing work with international clients all around the world over the phone, and then later through video conferencing. Believe me, this has been around for a long time, since the 90s, and it hasn't actually gotten much better, as we can see now. Less than half of all Canadian workers, less than 50%, worked full-time all year round. And that's a 2018 stat. That number's gotten smaller. So hustle culture has been around for a really long time. It's intensified now. This course is going to teach you where to start working with clients and how to deliver success for them. This quote means a lot to me. I encountered it when I was doing the first year of my master's program, and I think it perfectly encapsulates what's happening in the labor market right now. This was written by Manuel Castells. who was commenting on the increasingly interconnected and global nature of the workplace, of technology. And he writes, "This new environment requires skilled, flexible workers. The organization man, often known as the company man, gives way to the flexible woman." This is very true because, further to the point that I made about reinventing yourself, being a relentless learner, connecting with new people, as we're going to be doing in this course, you need that agility to survive and thrive in today's workforce. Another idea that I love is something that Dr. Richard Lachman wrote. This idea of gracious professionalism. It means a lot to me, and I come back to it all the time when I'm working with teams. This idea of gracious professionalism is all about respecting your team members, listening to what they have to say, being civil, being decent. And I'm going to read the words that Dr. Lachman wrote. "We require that team members be civil, professional, listen to one another, put effort into learning how to cooperate and respect one another. This is hard and it requires work. Teams should have their own conversations about respect, sharing the workload, listening to one another, civility in offline and online communications, attending meetings, responding to emails in a timely fashion, and other aspects of group work. Teams should strive to resolve problems within their teams. But please reach out to me, in this case, for any advice if you need it. Abusive behavior will not be tolerated. Be good professionals, help one another and other teams whenever you can. That is the spirit of gracious professionalism." This course is designed to be what's known as a flipped classroom. So this asynchronous element, this non-live element, is your opportunity to go through some of the core concepts, the big ideas. Like I said, it's divided into 3 15-minute videos where you have an opportunity to reflect, go through this content, hopefully in an engaging way, anywhere you are, out in the park, on the bus, on the subway. You can review these videos at your leisure. And then we're going to have a live classroom component where we get to chat. I think video conferencing is best when it's informal, when we're rolling up our sleeves. It's not a droning lecture on and on. I've had to sit through a lot of those myself. I don't love that. Zoom or Google Meet discussions are better when they're free form, open, and we're all just chatting. So we're going to do interactivity through those discussions. These lectures will be your opportunity to engage with the core content of this course. But again, those chats are meant for me to be there as your mentor, helping you problem solve, talking honestly about project work, and me helping you with tips, tricks, ideas, suggestions. That's what those live components will be all about, not a lecture, not a droning on and on lecture. 3-hour Zoom lecture should be banned, I think. So the big idea here is this asynchronous content, non-live content, will walk you through these core concepts and will go through your assignments and discussions about projects in the live discussions. So you've almost made it to the end of this first video. Thanks for sticking with me. The next up is Tanya's True Confessions. These will include horror stories about real-world blunders, issues, misunderstandings, and huge project failures. And these are going to provide you with some insights and lessons into how things work out there in the creative industries. We're also going to talk about some success stories. What works? How to problem solve with your clients? And these are going to give you actionable insights into how to deal with the projects before you for this course. So Tanya's True Confessions is up next. And then after that, we're going to have a nuts and bolts session. This is more interactive, where you're going to have some opportunities to think about key questions, do some exercises, have some springboard questions that I'm going to ask. And there's also a fun game element, which I will reveal in that video. Thanks for sticking with me. This is now your chance to hydrate, take a stretch, and join me next up with Tanya's True Confessions.